don't know how to iron. I don't know how to iron, man. And then I remember also in boot camp, a lot of kids come in, they never shave their entire life either. Now, the really funny thing is when a drill instructor is screaming at the top of his lungs for you to hurry up and shave, I remember the first day, there's probably like 4 or 5 people that just slice their faces straight open. They had to go to medical. And the drill instructors were laughing. They were like, dumbass, go to medical, you know? But this also, it outlined to me when I look back on it, I'm like, there's a lot of basic skills that young people just don't get anymore. I think they got these skills in the past. I haven't been around on this earth. It seems like they did, but something is happening to where people they aren't taught these things and they don't take responsibility for themselves because they're not taught to anymore. So I did the military thing, and mind you, I remember this specifically. I'm getting deployed and I'm doing all this hard stuff, and I see all these pictures of my friends and they're partying it up and they're just going crazy and having a good time, this and that. And I'm out here grinding halfway across the world, or doing this or doing that. And I felt like my youth was being stolen from me. In my naivety at that point in time, I didn't see the big picture. But what was actually happening, they were helping turn me into the man that I needed to become. And I didn't see that. And I was bitter, didn't like it. Not only that, you know, I think that a lot of folks in their mid-20s, that time frame, they really start to realize and they start to realize the bad things that happened to them in the past, and that starts expressing itself in different ways too. Substance abuse, drinking, all sorts of things like that. So you're going through that as well. I'm doing my best to be top notch in the military, but at the same time I go home and I feel broken in half, completely broken in half. And it was really, really hard to put on 2 faces. I remember, you know, thinking about that all the time. And you get to drinking and doing stuff like that, like everybody else is doing, and you just kind of try to blend in with the crowd, and you're broken inside. And you know, that came to a head for me. I got out of the military, and here I had all this momentum. I had the ability to go to school, and I said, you know what? This is why I joined. I did my time. I got out, got medical, get to go to school. Here's the momentum. I had the opportunity to do some really, really cool things in my life. And I squandered it then too. I'm in my mid-20s. I'm like, man, I gotta make up for lost time. I'm hitting my boys up. You know, I got a fat stack in the bank account. And I said, let's go. Let's go have some fun. Being dumb. That's what I was being, dumb. Stupid. And I look back at my 20s, and in some ways, you know, just a lot of the dumb stuff that I did in my 20s after having been given the opportunity to excel, and then squandering that again, I was back in the exact same spot. So I really felt like, you know, I had to rebuild. I started at square one again. You know, I got into some trouble. And now I'll say this about the justice system. Some people don't react very well to justice system. Some people don't. Some people do. And I was actually one of those people that it kind of woke me up, and the job that it was intended to do for me, it did for me. And I just started working really hard. You know, I was a meteorologist in the military, and I was doing some really, really cool adult high-level stuff. And then I come out, my first job out of the military, I think my last paycheck that I received in the military while I was a civilian, I went out to Lowe's and I just bought a lawnmower. And then I started trying to find lawns to mow. And in a way, it was like, man, like I feel depressed in a way. I feel less than. But I just started a path right there. I felt like I was just down. And I just started working hard at whatever I did. And I went from lawn mowing, and then I went to one of those car washes. You guys see those car washes where everybody comes out and they're, you know, buffing everything down, spraying the tires. You get little tips here and there. I started doing that. I recognized that I needed to get some sort of an education. I went to school, squandered it because the military gives you a stipend to go to school to live off of. And I was just showing up to class to get the money to go party, man, and just to live it up. Squandered it, messing it all up. And I didn't have a solid father figure too, and that's another whole big thing that plays into this. And when you hear these narratives about father figures and stuff, man, that shit matters. It matters in a big way. You know, and I didn't have that guidance, so I'm trying to figure it out on my own. So I go to school and I, you know, I'm motivated. I get this little IT certification, this little tiny thing, tiny IT certification. But that IT certification got me into the doors of a small technology company in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I started working there, and they're working me like a dog. I'm getting paid scraps. I'm up on the ladder and I'm pulling cables, and I got fiberglass in my face, and working long hours, and you got to work at nighttime because that's when the business is shut down. So you got to do all this sort of stuff. Started learning that, but here's what happened. I didn't like that job, but what it started teaching me was what path I should be on. What am I good at? What am I not good at? What do I like? What do I not like? So I'm very, very thankful for these experiences because I started narrowing things down. And I noticed that every job that I got, I was identifying a more narrow path. And the job that I got, if it was a little bit easier than the last job, I knew that I was on the right path because it married up with who I was and what I was. So I ended up getting a job after a while as a basic IT guy for a small company. So that was pretty neat because it started introducing me to more responsibility. These people didn't know anything about their network. They didn't know anything. I had been doing this for a little bit, so I was able to help the small business out. I started learning about business. I started learning about how to build a network and how to talk to people because I was having forward-facing conversations with the business owners and this and that. And then eventually they actually had me not only do IT, but they're like, hey, you could go out and sell some stuff. You can go sell for us and this and that. I thought that was real neat. So I'm learning these skills on the way, and it's just building blocks and just not giving up, waking up every day, hating things a little bit less every 6 months, a little bit less every 6 months, because you're getting more comfortable with it. And it was a grind. So I ended up going from there to a sales job. And my whole thing was, I don't ever want to go backwards anymore. If I'm going to change jobs, it's got to be for a good reason. It's got to be horizontal or it's got to be better. I don't want to take a fall back. And I didn't care what job it was, as long as it was horizontal move. Got into sales. And then that's, guys, if you've never been in sales, like a full-blown sales job, there is nothing better out there to teach you about yourself than a sales job, because it is going to expose all of your weaknesses, and it's going to put it right in your face. And it's like being a wrestler or, you know, being in a boxing match. You can't depend on anybody else but yourself to solve your own problems. And sales did that for me, and it made me take a hard look at who I was. And when it brought it to my face, again, I had one of those things where I was like, man, I don't like who I am right now. I gotta fix some things. I gotta work on some things. That's what it did for me. Right around this time, maybe a little bit before that, I started seeing this Facebook post by a guy on Facebook talking about Bitcoin. And I remember him just constantly, all the time, saying, guys, I'm telling you, get into Bitcoin now. And he's on Facebook, he's crazy about it. And I'm just like reading his post, and I'm just like clicking off. I'm like, oh, that's cool, but check out this chick in a bikini, that's neat too. So we'll just go that way. Dumb. I should have checked it out. And this actually will go into another lesson that I learned. But he kept doing it. And finally, I hit him up, and I was like, dude, what's this all about? And he said, pay me $100. You have 1 hour of my time, and I'm gonna teach you everything I know about it. I said, this is crazy. This dude's trying $100 for an hour? $100? Turns out, the best investment I've ever made in my life, and I didn't know it, okay? And for $100 more, I'll continue my conversation. How's that sound? No? Okay. All right. So we sit down, he talks to me about mining, Bitcoin mining. Looking back on it, I think that he was a little bit of a scammer in a way. what he did was he sparked interest in my mind about what this stuff was. And I had this idea. I said, I can't work forever. I don't want to do this forever. I need something. I need something that I enjoy. I need something to take care of me for the rest of my life. And it's one of those, I think one of those lies too that's out there floating in my generation is that there's an easy fix to everything and you can become quick and you can become rich quick overnight. And they put that in young people's heads, and that really discourages young people from doing hard work because they always think that there's an easy way out. There's no easy way out from hard work. You just gotta go do it. Doesn't matter what it is. And I was discovering that at the time. So started learning about Bitcoin. I purchased a miner, purchased another miner. My sales job started financing my love for cryptocurrency. And really it's financing the hard lessons that I was about to learn. So 2013, 2014, got some Bitcoin. Forgot that I had the Coinbase account, come back in around 2016, 2017, start getting into Bitcoin mining, and I rode the pump. If you guys, I'll show you on the chart here. Now the bottom here that says 20, so if you put $100 in, you multiply it by 104. That's how much money you could have had, okay? So what I did, I tried to play the trading game. Got into Bitcoin mining. I'm using these Bitcoin and I'm using leverage, and I've got a little stack of altcoins, which we talked about earlier, and I completely nuked myself, completely destroyed myself. At the top of 18, that nice little spike, before it corrected back down quite a bit, I basically lost everything. I had these Bitcoin miners, which by the way, when that bubble popped, so did the price of these Bitcoin miners. And you know, I think I paid thousands and thousands of dollars to have these things shipped from Hong Kong. I got a call from customs asking me what in the hell was in these boxes from Hong Kong, from China. And I had to talk, but anyway, all that money went down the drain because the Bitcoin miners decrease in value as the Bitcoin price decreases in value for some reasons. So I was the type of person where I saw people who were successful in crypto, and I said, there is definitely something here. I spent some time beating myself up, crying about it, feeling depressed, and then I got back on the grind, and I said, I'm gonna learn how to do this the right way. And it's not paying somebody to teach me how to do it. It's not joining some trading program where you're glued to your computer and it absorbs and sucks your life away while you're trying to find a good entry for every freaking trade, and then you try to get out, and you wake up in the middle of the night and you're looking at your portfolio and you're like, you rush out of bed real quick at 3 in the morning to put a stop loss on or sell it. And, dude, it's not a good way to live. It's a bad way to live. So I started learning from people who were successful, and I found a little strategy to use. So at the bottom of 2019 was when I started accumulating crypto. Not with the mindset of trading it, with the mindset of accumulation and holding it. Very, very, very different. Accumulation and holding crypto did something for me. It took the emotion out of it. When you have a plan and you set that plan on auto, either in your mind or on an actual device, it takes away all the decision making. You just do what you say you're gonna do, and you put in a little bit every week, put in a little bit every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, this and that. I think one of the stats that I had said was if I had put in $300 or $400, and this is just an example I saw online, $300 or $400 every month, I think 400 every month, from the bottom of 2018 to March 21st of 2021, you'd have about $140,000. 140 G's, and all you did was buy and hold. Buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold. And that example is nothing compared to some of the stories that you're probably gonna hear here in just a little bit. So I accumulated crypto fire sale at the bottom of a bear market in 2019. I remember building my portfolio with a lot of Cardano. That was really, really cheap. I think I bought Cardano at right around a penny. It might have been, maybe I started sub penny and then it got up to a penny and then 2 cents. I was buying it there. I bought something called, well, I got lucky with this. I bought something called Luna. You guys know what happened to Luna? It crashed, but I accumulated Luna, didn't trade it, and I got out when I was supposed to. What else? Matic. I got into Matic. I had Ethereum. I had Bitcoin, and I rode this up. Rode this way up, and my results were fantastic. At the same time, I'm starting to learn real estate. I'm going down the rabbit hole of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and learning all the fundamentals about that too. And it all just kind of came together. And the reason it came together was because I decided not to quit. I decided not to give up. I decided to search for the information that I needed to search for to try to make my life better. And I didn't rely on anybody else to do that but me. And that was the difference maker. Not giving up, grit, determination. My 3 friends convinced me to start something called the Rags to Riches group on Telegram. It used to be called Crypto and Real Estate, is what it was called. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to run a group. So they created the group and then they invited me to my own group that I was going to head. So I thought that was real funny. Both of those guys who did that, they're still with me in my groups today, kind of being admins, this and that. I started teaching people as the market was pumping in 2019, going into 2020, going into 2021, teaching people everything that I knew, absolutely for free, no paid group. It was just, if you wanted to learn about it, you come on in, you learn about it, we'll teach you. We want nothing in return, just be a good community member. So we did that, and we all did very, very, very well. I would say probably late 2019, early 2020, I'm on Twitter, and I started getting targeted by, Twitter started targeting me with Richard Hart's content. So I saw this guy, and you guys, you're not gonna know if you don't know about him, you're not gonna know a lot of what I'm saying right now. But I saw this crazy dude in a top hat talking to me like he was the biggest scammer in the world. And I followed him because he was entertaining, not because I believed anything that was coming out of his mouth. And little did I know that was the whole game. And here's why. It's because people actually in crypto, they are drawn to people who sound and look like and act like scammers. And he knew that, so he was doing that to try to get the dum-dums' attention, which was, I guess that was me. And I kept following him, and then I started listening to him a little bit more. I ended up buying his cryptocurrency, which was Hex. And I didn't tell anybody in my group because I was afraid if it was a scam, I didn't want them to get scammed. So I was like, I'll just, compartmentalize this and decrease the fallout. But then the more I looked, the more I watched, I saw some things happen that really gave me a lot of confidence. So I ended up onboarding, I think it was 200 or 300 people in my group into Hex, and I started making content about Hex and talking about Hex. And the thing that was cool about it was everything that I was trying to piece together kind of on my canvas, he pieced together very well, communicated very well, and taught me just endless amounts of knowledge about the crypto game. A lot of context that I was missing. He knew pretty much everything that happened from 2008 to about 2018. He was the most knowledgeable person about that I'd ever seen. And I started talking about Hex, and we all bought Hex, and Hex did extremely well. It did a 10,000x. It did a 10,000x in about a year and a half, I believe. 623 days. Which is an absolute insane amount of money. Just imagine putting like $1,000 in and being a millionaire in 623 days. So that was the type of stuff that we were dealing with. But out of that, man, the community was absolutely amazing. Loved everything about it, loved the people, this and that. And you kind of fast forward to today, I've been making content about crypto, been talking about politics, just launched my cryptocurrency, which is Texan token based on the first principles of Richard Hart. And we partnered up with a nonprofit organization that has a high membership, 435,000 people, and we tokenized their community. So now they have their own cryptocurrency, which is pretty neat too. And we're working on helping educate those people to get them on board. And meanwhile, you have a lot of projects that are popping up. Pulse Chain is going to be one of those things we were talking about earlier, which is a layer one. It's the actual, what did we say earlier? Think about a coin as the actual internet, right? And then think about the token as the project that goes on the internet. So this is a coin, this is a blockchain, this is a network, everything that we talked about earlier. That's set to launch. There's a fervent, vibrant community that's attached with that is teaching everything that I'm teaching you right now. Do I come across as a scammer to you guys? If I ask you guys for anything, am I asking you for money? No, it's not, because it's not about that. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to educate you so you can understand how important it is for you guys to be good citizens and understand how you're being screwed. That's why I do what I do. People got to understand how and why they're being screwed. And I want people to break out of all the crap that's weighing them down. And I think that this is the best way. Knowledge is the best way to do it. And most of the people in our community are the exact same way. And it's a beautiful, wonderful, wonderful thing. And we accept anybody. We accept, doesn't matter, you hear the whole thing, race or gender or whatever. We accept everybody who wants to be free. And that's the only thing that's important to us, because we are all human beings. And I say this quite a bit on my stream. These divides that come in between us, they force us to point the finger at each other sideways when we should be pointing the finger up at the people who are the puppet masters here. So these types of conversations are what's important, because we're sharing ideas. They don't want us to have freedom of speech because they don't want us talking to each other. Because if we talk to each other, what happens? We become more powerful. We're able to share our ideas. Remember what I said earlier about the meerkats? One meerkat on the daggone savannah, he's gonna die quick. If you have 50 or 60 meerkats, they got their eyes everywhere. They're seeing everything. They're sharing information with each other. Big populations help out. That's why freedom of speech is so important. So it all ties together. We could go down so many rabbit holes. I wanted to share with you guys my story, and this went entirely too long, and I'm sorry, but I wanted to share it because it's important to see that we're all in the same place. Just some people a little bit further down that road of knowledge than others. Just like you guys have specialties in this room that I can't shake a stick at. I can't talk to it. So let's see, Freddie?
Sure.
Come up. I want to let Freddie kind of share his story. And I'll set this up for you here.
Cool.
And I can play it when you want to come up.